The 12th Floor Diaries. From her 12th floor balcony, a solitary observer captures a city's unseen stories until silence falls and connection becomes her only lifeline. How does one find hope when the world stands still? Part 1. The Observer's Lens. Elara's sanctuary was a small balcony on the 12th floor of a modest high-rise apartment, a quiet refuge that overlooked the vast cityscape stretching endlessly beneath her gaze. From here, armed with her camera, she wove silent stories with each click of her shutter, capturing fragments of a world that moved with relentless energy, but often went unnoticed. Her life had always been one of observation rather than participation. She was the city's invisible witness, a ghost hovering on the periphery, recording the countless small moments that together compose the pulse of urban life. Each morning, Ilara awoke to the soft glow of dawn filtering through sheer curtains, the hum of distant traffic slowly swelling as the city stirred to life. Her apartment was minimalist, walls adorned with framed black and white photos, each one a testament to the raw humanity she sought to capture. But the true heart of her work was outside, where strangers became characters in her ever-growing tapestry. Among them, there was the delivery driver whose tired eyes betrayed the weight of endless routes, yet whose determination never faltered as he navigated winding streets and narrow alleys. Nearby, a medical staff member donned her mask and protective gear with quiet resolve, stepping into the hospital's chaos with unyielding strength. A flower girl danced along the sidewalks, her vibrant bouquets a burst of color in the urban grayness, while a street musician filled the air with haunting melodies that lingered long after his worn guitar was silenced. Ilara watched them day after day, finding in their routines a poetry that transcended the mundane. She treasured a fleeting moment captured through her lens, a mother tenderly cradling her child as they waited for a bus, sunlight catching on the child's laughter like a fragile beacon of hope. Despite the distance that separated her from these lives, Ilara felt deeply connected, as if her camera bridged an invisible gap, allowing her to partake in their stories without uttering a word. In her voiceover thoughts, she likened herself to a ghost observer, quietly documenting a vast, living canvas of human resilience and vulnerability. The city's heartbeat was in these anonymous encounters, in the hurried footsteps, the shared glances, the unspoken kindness that threaded through everyday chaos. As the sun dipped below the skyline, casting a warm golden hue across rooftops and streets, Ilara lowered her camera with a gentle smile, feeling a profound gratitude for the ordinary miracles unfolding below her. Little did she know that this sanctuary, her 12th floor perch, would soon become the vantage point from which she would witness a world irrevocably changed. Part 2. The silence descends. Weeks slip by, and the once vibrant city beneath Ilara's balcony transformed into a ghost town. The familiar rhythm of footsteps, honking cars, and distant laughter gave way to an eerie stillness, punctuated only by the wail of ambulance sirens and the relentless drone of news reports seeping through her windows. Streets that once teemed with life were now empty, sidewalks bare, and the air heavy with uncertainty and fear. Ilara's camera, once an extension of her soul, lay untouched on the windowsill, gathering dust like a forgotten relic. Each morning she raised it with hopeful fingers, only to lower it moments later, disheartened by lifeless scenes that offered no stories, no warmth. The vibrant characters she had faithfully observed, the delivery driver, the nurse, the flower girl, the street musician, were nowhere to be seen. It was as if the city had exhaled, holding its breath beneath a suffocating shroud. From her solitary perch, Ilara felt the weight of isolation more keenly than ever. The balcony that had been her lens to the world now felt like a cage, enclosing her within walls of silence and absence. The lively mosaic of human connection she had once pieced together now lay fractured and muted. Her creative spirit, once nourished by the bustling pulse of life below, faltered under the crushing quiet. She wrestled with an invisible adversary, a creative block deeper than any she had known, while the world outside slipped into an unsettling limbo. In her voiceover thoughts, she whispered, "It's all gone. The life, the movement, the stories." Yet amid the stillness, Ilara's eyes never stopped searching. She studied the empty streets, as if trying to read a message hidden in their quietude. She listened for any sound, a distant footstep, the flutter of a bird's wings, a hint of a melody on the wind. But the city remained a muted canvas, its once vibrant colors faded to gray. This new silence tested her patience and her faith in the power of art to capture truth. Her camera, once a joyful companion, now felt powerless against the invisible threat that had stolen the city's soul. She began to realize that to keep her own spirit alive, she would need to find a different way to connect, to tell the story of a city that no longer moved, or at least no longer moved as she knew it. As dusk fell, painting the sky with the soft hues of fading light, Ilara stood on her balcony, gazing at the hollow streets bathed in the quiet glow of street lamps. Was still breathing beneath its masks and closed doors, but the heartbeat she once captured had slowed to a whisper. In that profound silence, she vowed to find new ways to listen and to speak, to turn absence into presence, and to illuminate the invisible threads that still held her city together, even when no one else seemed to see. Part 3. The Unseen Threads. Months passed in a suspended silence, and Ilara found herself surrounded by the familiar warmth of her old photographs. Frozen fragments of a city that once breathed and moved beneath her balcony. Each image was a portal to a world that now felt painfully distant, a reminder of lives she had quietly admired from afar. As she traced the contours of faces she no longer saw, Ilara's restless heart stirred with a new kind of hope. The people she had once captured through her lens, the delivery driver with his worn red cap, the nurse whose tired eyes held unwavering courage, the flower girl whose smile had lit up gray sidewalks, and the street musician who filled the air with soulful tunes, were no longer just moments frozen in time. They were the very pulse of the city's resilience, the unseen threads that bound its spirit together, even in isolation. Moved by this realization, Ilara reached for a pen and pristine sheets of paper. An intentional, deliberate choice that felt more personal than the click of a shutter. She began writing letters, though she did not know the names of the people she addressed. Instead, she wrote to them as she had come to know them. To the driver with the red cap, to the nurse with the tired eyes, to the flower girl with the brightest smile, to the musician of the corner. Each letter was a careful weaving of gratitude and encouragement, a heartfelt acknowledgement of sacrifices made in silence. With each stroke of the fountain pen, Ilara poured not only words, but a longing to bridge the distance between herself and the city she loved. Writing was slow and painstaking, but deeply fulfilling. She imagined her letters slipping through closed doors, reaching into the quiet rooms and lonely corners where these unseen heroes lived and worked. Though anonymous, her words were sincere, small beacons of light, offering comfort in an otherwise dark time. Each page bore her signature, simple and enigmatic, from the 12th floor. This gesture was her way of remaining connected without revealing herself, of becoming part of a collective story, rather than a solitary observer. Her internal voice reflected on the paradox of silence, that it did not mean absence, only a different kind of presence. Alara realized that though the streets were empty, the city's heart still beat strongly through its people's quiet endurance. Through these letters, she sought to transform her solitude from a barrier into a bridge, to turn passive watching into active solidarity. In this new language of ink and paper, she found a renewed sense of purpose, a way to tell a story not just with images, but with the warmth of human connection. As she sealed each envelope, Ilara felt the fragile threads of hope weaving through the stillness, connecting the balcony of her lonely sanctuary to the unseen lives below. The city, though quiet, was not broken. It was holding on, and so was she. Part 4. A city's quiet strength. Ilara's letters began their slow, mysterious journey into the hands of those she had once quietly observed from her balcony. Though she remained unseen, the impact of her heartfelt words rippled through the lives they touched, quietly stirring moments of solace amid the relentless weight of the pandemic. In a montage of fleeting, intimate scenes, the delivery driver, pausing for a brief breath amid his endless routes, unfolds a letter and allows a genuine smile to soften his tired features. A rare warmth in the midst of exhaustion. The nurse, after a grueling shift in the hospital's unforgiving corridors, reads her letter with eyes glistening as silent tears betray the burden she carries and the comfort she finds in being seen. Meanwhile, the flower girl, who once struggled to bring color to the deserted streets, clutching her blooms with renewed joy, rereads the delicate script that reminds her her efforts matter, that her smile still brightens even the grayest days. At the corner where music used to flow freely, the street musician tentatively strums a hopeful new tune, as if the letter has rekindled the courage to sing again. These quiet, unspoken acknowledgments became a language of their own. Subtle gestures, nods exchanged with no words, a single flower left on a doorstep beneath Ilara's balcony. All signs that the invisible thread of connection was alive and holding fast. From her vantage point, Ilara watched and waited, her heart lifting with every sign of recognition. The balcony was no longer a cage but a bridge, linking her solitude to a community resilient in its quiet strength. In her voiceover reflections, she saw these fragile moments as tiny threads weaving a new tapestry of hope and endurance. A collective song, sung softly but powerfully beneath the city's still surface. Though the streets remained empty and the noise subdued, the city was alive with an unbreakable spirit, a song of persistence and compassion that could be heard by those willing to listen. Ilara realized that her letters had become more than just words on paper. They were lifelines, a testament to the enduring power of human connection in even the darkest times. Her anonymous gesture had sparked something precious and unspoken, a reassurance that no one was truly alone, that gratitude could reach across silence and distance. In this quiet, fragile moment, she saw the true strength of the city. not in its towering buildings or bustling streets, but in the hearts of those who continued to carry it forward, each small act of kindness a note in a collective love song. As twilight deepened, Ilara remained on her balcony, bathed in the soft glow of street lamps, feeling a renewed sense of purpose and belonging. The city might have been quiet, but its heart beat stronger than ever, and she was listening, ready to keep telling its story, one letter, one image, one whispered hope at a time. Part 5. The City's Love Song. Months later, as the city began to stir once again from its long slumber, Ilara felt the heavy fog of creative paralysis finally lift. The streets below her 12th-floor balcony were no longer silent. Tentative footsteps returned. Conversations whispered between neighbors, and the familiar cadence of life cautiously resumed. The pandemic's shadow still lingered, but a new light glimmered in the resilience of a city remade by endurance and hope. Ilara's studio, once a quiet refuge of longing, was now transformed into a vibrant gallery of portraits, faces of the unseen heroes whose stories she had honored through her letters and lens. Each photograph pulsed with life, capturing not just their likeness, but the spirit that had kept the city breathing in its darkest hours. The culmination of her work was a photo book titled Balcony Echoes, A City's Resilience, a love song to the quiet strength she had witnessed from afar. At the gallery's opening, surrounded by soft murmurs of admiration, Ilara finally stepped out from behind her camera to meet one of her subjects in person. The nurse whose tired eyes had once mirrored the city's fatigue and now shone with a fierce, renewed hope. Their meeting was a poignant, wordless exchange, an affirmation of the invisible bond forged between observer and participant, artist and muse. In that moment, Ilara understood that her journey had evolved from passive watching into active participation. Her camera no longer a barrier, but a bridge to genuine connection. Walking through the city streets that evening, camera in hand, Ilara embraced a new role. No longer a distant ghost capturing fleeting moments, she was a storyteller, entwined with the city's rebirth. Her images alive with shared experiences and collective healing. The love song she had written in letters and photographs now found its voice in every shutter click, every captured smile, every human story told through her lens. In her final voiceover reflections, she acknowledged that the city's beauty had transformed. It was no longer just the physical landscape she admired, but the resilience, compassion, and enduring spirit of its people. Her camera had become her voice, a medium through which she celebrated the quiet heroes who had kept the city alive. The echoes from the 12th floor were no longer distant whispers, but a chorus of hope, healing, and love, a testament to the strength found in unity and the power of art to illuminate even the darkest of times. As the night settled softly over the skyline, Ilara smiled, ready to capture the next chapter of a city forever changed, forever alive.